Good morning, everybody. I can promise you in normal times I would be having a lovely breakfast and a strong coffee at this time, had things be very normal. And I, at one of the many food outlets that the RMB Turbine Art Fair always provides. And of course, you know, that got me thinking about the social part of the art fair and where people meet, where people discuss, where people have a great time. And of course, that we cannot enjoy in these times. And we have to create another society, a virtual society. And the main thing for me, what I take away from all of this is that now is the opportunity to actually focus on the art, not about the social occasion as such. And when you look at the art, what is very striking about this year's offering is how fresh everything seems. I'm sure it is partly attributed to the wonderful selection committee, because I think they did an excellent job choosing wonderful examples, making sure that the standards are very high. And I'm sure it's also it can also be attributed to the actual medium, because you see the works very clearly. It's high-res images, good documentation and cataloging, and you know exactly what you are looking at. So in fact, it is sort of quite a privilege, quite enjoyable to do that. I have to add that you really have to put aside many, many hours if you want to look at everything. And believe me, there won't be any dull moments. I think the other striking thing for me is the fact that all the art has something, some strong elements of what we call contemporary African art. There's a major shift that I can see, and I'm sure if you go to galleries in Addis Ababa, Cairo, Lagos, you would find similar work. So it has a continental feel. I can feel that I'm part of contemporary African art when I look at this particular fair. And this fair could then have been staged anywhere on the continent. And of course, contemporary African art has staked its claim in the global world art community. We do speak in art historical terms of contemporary Chinese art, contemporary Middle Eastern art, contemporary South American art. So I think it is important to say, here we are, this is what we do. But when you look at contemporary African art, there are certain sort of characteristics. First one is sort of in most of the works that I see on the fair really has something to do with the African identity. Who are we as a people? Who are we as a continent? What are our interests? And that is how I basically approached looking at the art on this fair, because I see different issues. You know, I see socio-political and socio-economic issues raised by these artists. I see issues of gender, issues of identity, and these are very broad themes that you would find anywhere in the world. In any case, it is just that we add something special to it to say we are African. So for me, where I started, where I want to start is at the top there. You will see on the horizontal menu bar there the artworks. It will, of course, take some time to load, but there you go. And this changes all the time. Believe you me, 3 hours ago when I spent time on the website, it looked very different to what you see here. Now, the artworks, you know, you can get a sense of what is on offer here, and then you can explore it further. I managed to identify quite a couple of outstanding works when doing this particular route, when following this particular route. And my thing is that I found you know, when you look at this body of work, it's rather overwhelming, and you really have to preserve and you really have to make your notes to pursue other things. I think from what I can see that it might have been, this particular site might have offered one example rather than many examples of one artist, because I think that takes up time in the artworks. So having said that, I think if you want to get an overview of some of the highlights of the fair, you can spend a whole day just looking at this, and then you can continue. I think for me, what was more useful was looking at the exhibitors, first of all, the galleries, the drop-down menu there. And here I identified quite interesting works, Berman Contemporary, for instance. I also like the manner in which the site was built, with an image of the locations, interior, exteriors, with a write-up of what these galleries are all about. And then just also to point out that when you want to see what a gallery has on offer, it's useful to go to launch the Berman Contemporary Viewing Room here. You click on that, and all of a sudden, their list of illustrious artists actually pop up, and immediately you are struck by the innovative nature of this this sculptural work. I just want to go further down. And especially ceramics, it's like a crumpled up piece of paper that you see here executed in ceramics, which I think is quite fascinating. There is what I mean by gender issues, looking at the presence in terms of the past. Another fascinating work, this particular one. It's almost like you have a traditional African pot being deconstructed and giving a contemporary spin on that. So quite phenomenal sculptural works that I see here. Place Mola Lapa. I think Molaka Lapa. I think this is probably what I would put in my shopping basket. The first thing that I would put in my shopping basket. I think I would probably need a shopping trolley, because there are many works that I would like to buy. And the reason is that here she gives me something mysterious. She gives me something minimalist. It's not full canvas. It is quite sparse. And I like that late 1960s minimalist look. But here it's almost as if you want to get into the picture, and you want to open what is hidden by that black shape that fills the center of the picture plane. Let's look at another gallery. Let's just see exhibitors, galleries. So then I want to look, just go down. My mouse is a bit frozen this time of the day. There is CAPS gallery. And here I was struck by the work of Tamisha Bana. This particular artist, and I'm just going to look at other works, because in the artwork section I identified other works where she focused on exploring the Chernobyl chemical disaster, and that is something that makes art contemporary at the moment. That they look at global warming, at environmental issues, at political issues, and that is, I think, what is important for me in her work. I'm sure later on I will come. Let's just see under artists if I can show you those examples, because I find them quite fascinating. I'm going to check under her name and see. They were certainly this morning on the artwork sections. They're not there anymore, so we'll have to look at them somewhere else. I also like this section of the platform where we have the photographs of all the artists, because they're not just works with a label and a cursory name on it. You can actually see what the people look like, where they work. For instance, Anton Kannemeyer, this is a self-portrait of him that he provided for the fair. Let's just see if I can, is there filters? Can I do a quick search here? Let's just see if I can, if I put in Barnard, the surname. Okay. Nationality. Let's just look at other filters. Okay. So we'll get back. We'll get back to her, and I will show you what I find striking about her work. Right. Let's continue with our galleries and see what else I can show you. Goodman Gallery, I think, well known, the first time that they have joined the fair, that they are participating, and very interesting work on offer. I think if you look at what they have on offer, let me just see where I can get to their gallery. Yeah, launched the Goodman Gallery viewing room. Take some time to upload. There we go. Yeah, and here we're beginning to get the work Jabulani. This is the work specially created for the fair by William Kentridge, Sam Gedwa, David Kwalane, lovely work, Jessica Webster, William Kentridge, Sue Williamson, Tabusa Sekhala, Jeremy Wafer, and this is the work. This is the second work I'm putting in my shopping basket by Clive van den Berg. Above ground, underground. This is a watercolor, and this is very typical of, I think, his best work. That division that he creates between what is buried and what is visible. What is buried in many of his works, he looks at the history of the country and the iniquitous things that are shoved under the carpet, or in this instance, buried underground. And it becomes almost sort of like an abstract work that we have to recreate for ourselves in a new dispensation, in a new political dispensation with new goals and ideals. And so he provides sort of the elements, the groundwork, so to speak, of a new beginning. Let us just go to some more galleries. Let's just scroll down a little bit more. The Kalashnikov Gallery, I'm showing you this, and then let's just have a look at what they have to offer. Let's just get to the there we go. I think I would also buy this by Irma Stern, young artist, fairly recently graduate from the Michaelis Art School. And I've been following her work, and this is certainly a highlight for me. What she's been doing is she started out, I think, with installation work, bits of paper, pieces of wire, metal, even organic work that she would sort of assemble in a type of installation in the gallery. And then she would use that, the three-dimensional, and actually change it into two-dimensional work on in an artwork, such as you see here. So it's all, what you have to look at, and this is the engaging part of the artwork, is that you'd have to imagine that this is a three-dimensional interior space with all of these objects and shards and shapes floating in mid-air. So that play with the two-dimensional, the three-dimensional is actually quite interesting. The idea of space and objects in space, and then the whole nature of representation, what is real, what is not real. There might be real bits of found objects, wire, shards, plants, and whatever, but even in the installation of the physical object, it still becomes a representation of something else. So I think intellectually challenging, visually very pleasant. I'm particularly fond of abstract work, but I think one has to be careful, when you look at abstract art, because I think one can sort of soon see what is just very carefully thought out, and what is just chance, and what is just taking a chance. Right. So let's see if there's anything else. A very interesting gallery. I think a superb offering. Also, Yolanda Mazwana. Abstract when you look at it, but you can still see the figure emerging there. Something, I think, spiritual about that particular work. Maya Bakr, also one of my favorite artists, abstract work. Teresa Ann McIntosh, delightful work, I find. So it's really, I mean, the point I want to make about the fair is you can really buy exactly what you like, because the offerings are so good. I'm just getting back to more galleries here, and just want to look. Let's look at the No End gallery. And we look at what they list for us. Just scrolling down here. And sort of lovely, playful work, very charming work, fresh work that you see here. Yeah, that is one for my shopping basket. Again, it's abstract. Again, it's engaging. The linear quality, the yellow colors there, the stippled lines there. This is certainly one that that I really think is engaging. You can walk past it. Often I think people buy art, they hang it on the wall, and then they walk past it for the rest of their lives. But a work such as this, will always be striking. Well, there's always something that you would turn your head and say, "Wow, I've never seen that one before." So certainly, I think great work, great work for me uh, from this gallery. I just want to see if I can point you in the direction of more gallery. In the Lismore gallery, here's something interesting that I want to show you. Um, there we go. Let's just see. Um, website is a bit slow at the moment. Oh, let's see what comes up. Yeah. So very interesting works. I think very interesting works. If you look at it, before you recognize the profile of the woman's face on the left, you are struck by intricate patterns on the headscarf, which I find quite interesting in this particular work. Chepape Makatu, I think, if you want to buy one thing that would remind us of these times in which we live, I would go for his work. And I think museums should buy his work because it's always interesting to have something that represents a whole era in the history of not only the country but the whole world. And here again, what makes Chepapi a contemporary African artist, the use of contemporary African fabric, the wax print, so to speak, or the German print is also sometimes called. And I think it forms a lovely pattern. It is very colourful, and it does suggest something about the virus with which we live at the moment. But I also think you can include this type of thing. That's also how I look at works and how I select works. Is that, say, for instance, I have to curate an exhibition on a specific topic, and say, for instance, woman art, I would include something like this because it deals with the mask obscuring the identity. It deals with tradition, if you think of Middle Eastern countries, but it also this idea of protection against viruses and an infection and the like. It's multidimensional, and I think Chipapi Makatu actually captures that quite well. Very colourful works there. So I think something that you could really look at in this particular gallery. Let's just see some more galleries. Salon 91, always a favorite of mine. Never disappointed in what they have to offer, always fresh, always delightful. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to look here, and you can immediately see great work to live with. And if I just go through, scroll down, you can see what they have on offer. I find it a very refreshing place to visit. I find the art very refreshing, and certainly great work to consider. Right. Also, the White River Gallery from Mpumalanga. I think this might be the first time that they are at the fair. Um, and again, it captures something about that part of the world. Right. I really like these shots of the physical space that we're not able to see the interiors. See Martin, I've been watching and see how she's been growing. Also, fine works, which I this is sort of like pen work, pen and ink work. Just see if I can find, yeah, an example such as this intricate fine work, and it's interesting that Winston is from that area because his pencil work, the very fine pencil work, reminds me of another artist who spent the last part of her life in Rwanda. That is, of course, Judith Mason, and she was, of course, a master with the pencil. And I can see echoes of that in the intricacy of her work, such as this. Right, world art. Right. Also, sort of playful work that you see uh, in a work such as this, because it's sort of like a composite work. It's almost like a collage of different styles, different eras, different interests, all spliced together in a sort of an amusing, humorous manner. Something that you would find from from the postmodern era, late 70s, early 80s, which uh, which I find quite interesting. Let's look at this example. And now, okay, this one I did. There. Right. What the galleries, I think, for me is a lovely way of spending time. And the idea, for instance, what you see here for the entrance to the David Cook projects, the idea of having images of the galleries, images, the exteriors, the interiors, I think really for me is pleasant, because it's as if you're going on a gallery hop. If you're going from one place to the next, everything is not under one roof. So I really think that was a very neat idea to do that. I want to move on to the projects section here. And again, an absolutely amazing selection of products that are done here. I want to do with this special one, the COVID-19 photographic project, because there is certainly one or two works that I would not mind putting in the basket as well. Let's see if we can get the images up, and then I will just talk us through that. We're just waiting for the images, and I'm sure they will be up now. Right, so I'm going to scroll down. Also, sort of an interesting work because it captures the times. You know, all these the masks on sale at the street corners. And I really like the title, Raiders of the Lost Mask. You know? So really, and you see, this is the other thing about selecting art. You have to consider the intellectual work that has gone into it, not only the technical skill of the work or the beauty necessarily of the artwork. I think it is, this is also work because it is clearly some sort of school hall used now for a shelter. And the interesting thing for me is the decor at the back of the stage, that idyllic landscape there, because it contrasts so beautifully with a harsh reality in the foreground. Also, a very touching work, Remains of Day, that sense of isolation, but the sun there in the top left-hand side, I think quite interesting. Yeah, this and again, Millard Arnold, I love this work. It's again an abstract work, one of my favorite styles. But the color here, I think, is so phenomenal. The juxtaposition of all those lovely colors, I find absolutely irresistible. This is definitely one for me. And there's yet another photographer whose work I want to show in this. I will get to it in a second. Look at this interesting work, for instance, instance, it's chairs put upside down on the desk, but it forms a grit. It becomes something minimal, and that I think is quite phenomenal. You know, with an ordinary quotidian object like table and chairs. Uh, to be able to erect something like that, and the legs just provide some sort of irregularity that I love. I think this is quite a photograph to watch out for. Yeah, this is I absolutely love this work. Shinganji Sikipa. Um, Forget the title for the man. The title is COVID-19 did this. And of course, everything is deserted and everybody is in isolation. But for me, it's sort of like something futuristic here, but it's also something surreal, absolutely surreal. And it could well have been by Giorgio de Chirico, that famous surrealist or Italian surrealist artist that I see in a work like that. And the high-rise buildings almost disappearing in the cloud. A very mysterious atmosphere that you see here, deserted. I think this one is also one that I would take home. This particular work. Right. Then that brings us to the second project, Tactile Visions, an exhibition curated by Professor Charlene Kahn. And she is looking at she is looking at the use of sort of fabric, textile, and how artists creatively deal with or use that as a medium in their artistic expression. Just want to show you a couple of examples. Visit our room. That's where I have to go. Right. Let's just. Right. Fascinating work, that, because it's clearly referencing traditional beadwork, but with a completely modern twist, which I really like. Embroidery, often relegated to women's pastime work, but giving a new life by Wilhelm de Villiers. So these shapes I find so fascinating. And of course, Tanya Peterson, probably the highlight here. And her work you will find in Zeitz-Marker, the Museum of Contemporary African Art, Cape Town. So I was very pleased to see that Charlene included her in this exhibition as well. And then, yeah, let's just. Phenomenal ways in which very creative ways. Mary Sibande, also always pleased to see her work. Reshma Chiba. Right. Then another project, New World Order, this time curated by Dr. Johan Tom. Also very impressive. I was really impressed by selection, uh, the, the selection he made for this particular section. I think the idea was to look at the work of what can be described as mid-career artists, and I think he made a very fine selection there. Normally, the fair would focus on young emerging artists, but in this case, he reminds us of the phenomenal work done by um, these artists. Let me just see. Curatorial statement. Sometimes it's just a little tricky to access the viewing rooms. Let's just see if I go to the viewing rooms, because I do want to show you the fine selection he has made for the fair. Oops, yeah, I will find it in a second. There's tactile vision, New World Order. Right. Right, one of her own works there, Jan van der Merwe, teaching sculpture at Tshwane University of Technology. I was absolutely fascinated by this Rat Western. I think she teaches at Rhodes University, if I'm not mistaken. Because you get a sense of rock art and these very typical Bushman paintings, but in this case submerged underwater, which I find sort of like above below that idea, which I find quite fascinating. Johan van der Schijf, he teaches sculpture at Michaelis. He's professor of sculpture at Michaelis at the moment. Fred Eckstein, also very interesting work, figures created out of old books, and then digital prints. Yeah, this is definitely a sculpture that I will put in my trolley. Avi Sufel, she's head of department at Pretoria University, their fine arts department. Very interesting, very tactile sculptures. It's quite a large scale work, this one, if you look at the dimensions there, almost 2 meters. But organic, very tactile, and it reminds me of the work of Louis Bourgeois, of course, one of my all-time favorite sculptors. And of course, one would never be able to afford that, but certainly this Avi this one is for me. And Bosov, and Diane Victor, a special project of hers, the stations. Minette Vari, but I like this work. It's an artist book that she specially created of these ethereal landscapes, and for me that is also sort of quite an interesting work, of course. just want to get back to the special projects page. There we go. RMB Talent Unlocked is the next project. And let's see if we can get to the images. There we go. Artworks. And this is very typical, of what I mentioned right at the outset, the freshness of that you see in most of these examples. Rick Valoy, look at this very sensitive, very fresh work. I think quite, a lot of empty space there, but I think for me, certainly a really nice, really delightful work. And then I was also struck by this, I think, an enigmatic sculpture. Let me just see if it's the right one I've clicked. Yeah. Let's just. I think the screen. Can you just quickly help me here? Get back to the full screen. There we go. Thanks. So I'm really fascinated by this because there's something almost primordial about this, some sort of primordial beast or creature, which is for me sort of quite fascinating. Right. So that would be the RMB talent, fresh talent unlocked. Look, this project. So these are from the graduates from universities. And this is, if you are a gallerist, this is where you should make your first stop and pick up the best of the crop from these work. Yeah, this I also find fascinating. The use of new media, the use of that ubiquitous cell phone, and doing something fresh and creative about that. Right, looking forward, this is exactly, that example that I just showed you about the cell phones. This particular project deals with the use of the latest technology in generating art. So it's not only computer-generated art, but cell phone generated art, and the likes, and the creative possibilities that you would have if you look at a work like this. Those blue lines are very typical of the very early computer-generated art, where the cursor would brush, and you would choose your color, and then the cursor would make a work such as that. So quite a delightful project at the fair. Okay, we at the opening night we saw a lovely clip of the work of Jake Singer, and absolutely amazing to see of movement in flight, a bird taking off out of the wall. So, and you know, it would be amazing just to walk around this and looking at the wingspan from different angles and the like. So I'm very pleased that this was included in in the second thing I want to look at is this special project. This is a exhibition, a museum quality exhibition curated by Strauss Company, and it looks at the work of Gladys Mukutlandlu and Maggie Laubscher, and that is sort of those works are put side by side to look at what the nature of their art. Now, the idea was really to dovetail with the theme of the fair, which is sort of visionary art. But of course, visionary you can associate with looking forward. But we are looking at earlier antecedents of that visionary nature of art. And I thought the best way to illustrate that is to look at Gladys Mukutlandlu and Maggie Laubscher side by side. They certainly, well, they never met as far as we know. They lived their lives in parallel. They had similar upbringings, you know, rural. They were born in rural areas. They were in the main very religious upbringings. Gladys was self-taught. Maggie, however, she spent time with Edward Roworth, a classic academic type of instructor in the Cape, 1903. But soon after that, she went to Europe, where she really traversed the continent and the UK, England, Scotland. She was in the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany, Italy, and Germany, of course, where she met Karl Sloff. And he was the main exponent of German expressionists, and she, I think, got many of her uses of color and composition from him. They did similar subject matters: birds, landscapes, portraits, still lifes, even, or flower pieces. And it was interesting to put their art side by side. You can view their you can view their work on the Strauss website. There is also sort of a catalogue that you can access electronically. There are recordings of a discussion of her work, and I don't see. Yeah, you can watch that video over here. But I think also what's interesting about these two visionary artists is the manner in which a later generation, a more contemporary generation of artists drew inspiration from their work. From Maggie Laubscher, we have seen Zander Blom including depictions of her work in some of his later works. And in terms of Gladys Mukutlandlu, we have seen that she inspired a creative restaging of one of her exhibitions by Nonto Ntombela, and also Kemang wa Leolere, contemporary artist, used Gladys in some of his performance pieces. So it was actually quite interesting to explore all of that. Just see, there's one last thing that I want to show you. Where would I find this Strauss online?
In the viewing rooms.
Viewing groups. Okay, sorry. Okay, I missed that one. Talent Unlocked, World Order, David Critchlow. We will just scrolling down. There's one last thing I want to. Oh, commune. Just very quickly. This is a project done by the KZNSA Gallery. Strauss & Company also teamed up with them. They had a special commune, comes from the whole idea, we normally a strong art community, but in the time of COVID, how do we reconstitute ourselves? How do we get a sense of community? And so they invited, I think, 6 women artists to suggest all of that. And then Strauss & Company teamed up with KZSNA, and we did a mentoring project with some of their writers. Their writers then used Gladys Mugudlandra and Maggie Laubscher, that exhibition, as a springboard into unlocking the meaning and significance of the work produced by those artists.
And then auction.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, the very last thing, this is normally Strauss & Company would coordinate with the fair to include the latest online offering. This here we have just over 700 lots on offer. And I just want to, I'm not very happy with, how do I get to images? Exhibitors, okay, let me just see. Let's just see. I just want to show you a couple of the lots on offer. Right, I think it's probably browse. Yeah, okay. There's the link to the website. And you can look at the offerings there. I'm not very happy, but I think I'm not happy. I'm not successful yet, but I think maybe I mean you get the idea. The website is simply Strauss Art, and you are welcome to explore many different categories. We have the staff picks. That's usually the most popular section. We have works on paper. We have conventional works on oil. We have quite a number of sessions in which there was an event where they list yeah, there we go. There we go. There we are on the Strauss homepage, and here you can see browse the auction. And easy to navigate. All those sessions are the different sessions. Here you have the whole lot of them. Session 1, the staff picks. Session 2, decorative arts, paintings, works on paper. Session 5, prints and multiples. Session 6, sculpture, ceramics, textiles, portfolios, books. 7, wine, always very popular, and then a number of charities: Golf RSA, Dassenberg, the Dark Rescue Center, Clark's Dining Room Charity, the Quartet of Peace, very, very interesting works there, and of course the Still Life Photography Charity. So it's very interesting to look at that. I'm just going to, yeah, here you have the staff picks chosen by the specialists, and so that you can see what they would recommend for you. Easy to navigate. You simply read the screen, and there you go. Okay, so this has been really great, taking you through some of my favorites. A couple of quick things. Pancho Guedes, he was the professor of architecture at Wits. He was also a painter. And there you have one of the rare, very rare works, hardly ever comes up, Pancho Guedes' Board Meeting, a delightful work. Same with Jan Neethling, Pretty Boy Floyd. This work here, he and Robert Hodgins collaborated on this. Pretty Boy Floyd, of course, referencing that infamous gangster, Chicago gangster of the 1930s, 40s. And the very, well, second last thing, Stephen Cohen. This is a work printed on textile, clearly referencing Alice in Wonderland here. But with a completely different face. And then the Haystack series, lovely 5 in the portfolio by Helmut Stark. Okay, but so all in all, everything is here, and you can explore our website to see the online auction. We've always been part, Strauss & Company, in supporting Turbine Art Fair since its inception 8 years ago. So we are here again in full force.
We have quite a nice question from Candace.
Yeah.
She says, would love to know your thoughts. If we are on a limited budget, but want to consider a good investment as an emerging curator, what works or artists would you recommend we look at?
Okay, so basically it depends on the size of your budget. You know, sort of. I think 5,000 is probably the minimum, and then I think, if I'm not mistaken, the fair is capped at 50,000. So. Yeah, I think it is a matter of when you choose something, you know, you have to ask yourself quite a number of questions. It deals with whether you buy with your heart or with your head. When you buy with your heart, it's obviously for your home, and you want to enjoy it, you want to hang it up, you want to look at it every day. But with your head, you have something else in mind, perhaps foremost a resale value. And then you need to choose very carefully. You know, there are hundreds, thousands of works on offer, and you need to look. But what for me is very important is the intellectual work going into an artwork. You know, I'm not always just looking at beautiful pictures. I'm always considering how engaging, how in tune a work is with the time. So, for example, work I've just pointed out by Pancho Gilles, board meeting. I think the nature of board meetings have changed completely. You know, it's now Zoom meetings. And also, when you look at that, it forms sort of like a circle, which has a symbolic meaning. What is discussed at board meetings? So you have to ask yourself these things. You know, I think I was overwhelmed by the vast list of new names that I've never heard of that featured on the fair. So you need to look at formal properties of an artwork, but also the intellectual work, the meaning, the significance of work, and I think that is a good investment in my mind.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.